I am Dr. Pam Middleton, your virtual holistic pediatrician. I help families achieve and maintain health and wellness through inside-out healing using holistic modalities that encompass the mind, body, and spirit. So today, we're going to talk about some bothersome rashes that seems to really concern parents, but are really nothing to be too concerned about. So I want to tell you about a couple that I've been seeing lately, and sometimes we see them around this time of the year. The first one is called pityriasis alba. And pityriasis alba is actually what it looks like. Oh, somebody's here. Hello. Thanks for joining. I can't see who you are though. But pityriasis alba will appear as light colored spots on the skin. Generally, it's on the face. It can also be on the chest, the upper arms, but you will see light patches. And what happens is this time of the year, it appears to be getting worse because those light patches do not tan. So if your child is getting tanned, it's going to look like the patches are getting worse because they will not tan. Pityriasis alba, we don't really know what causes it. So there's really not a definitive treatment for it. We usually suggest that you just keep the area moisturized because a lot of the kids who get it actually do have other skin conditions like eczema or really dry skin. So the area will just be lighter. Sometimes it will feel a little bit rough to the touch, but it shouldn't bother them. It really is usually not itchy unless, their skin in general is itchy because they have some underlying skin problems. So remember, with that particular condition, just keep it moisturized as much as possible. You want to try to avoid darkening of the skin around it unless it's going to look worse. So that means putting on a sunscreen. If you are going to put on a sunscreen, make sure it's a natural sunscreen that basically contains zinc oxide so that, we don't have to worry about the chemicals in the sunscreen. We want to make sure that everything's going to be safe that you're going to put on your child's skin. Okay, so that was the first one, pityriasis alba. The second one is molluscum contagiosum. So molluscum looks like almost like a little mosquito bite maybe, but it generally has a little dot in the center of it. So it's kind of like a little raised lesion. It can almost look like a wart almost, but it will have usually a little umbilication or a little dot right in the middle of it. That's molluscum. Now molluscum is actually a little bit more bothersome than the pityriasis because molluscum can actually spread. So your child, it usually starts off where you see one or two, and at first you may even think, what's this? Is this a mosquito bite? And they may start to spread. Usually you can have between 1 and 20 mollusca. They can come in they can be individual little areas, or they can actually be in clusters. But like I said, they can be contagious. So if your child is messing with them, like if they have one or two on their arm and they start to pick at them or rub them, they usually don't itch. They usually don't bother people, but they're there. They're kind of like a skin protrusion, and you know how children are. If there's something on their skin, they are going to pick at it, okay? So what you want to make sure is that they're not touching it, picking at it, and then touching other parts of their body, because that will actually spread it. So molluscum is contagious, and it tends to last for months. It doesn't go away quickly, and there's really, like I said, no definitive treatment. Now, if it's in an area, like if you get a teenager who has molluscum, right on their face where, it's really going to be a cosmetic issue, that person is generally referred to dermatology for them to remove it. But it actually can come back, and the removal can be somewhat painful, so that's why we don't recommend that for all children who have it, like if you just have it, on your arms or something. So, and there are different ways people try to figure out how it's spread. A lot of times you just don't know. It's caused by a virus. So it's just like how you get a cold. Sometimes you get a cold and you don't really know how you got it. You really weren't around anybody who was sick that you knew of. So, but in older children, it actually can be spread also by contact. So if you have a child who maybe is a wrestler, is involved in some type of contact sport like that, it can be spread by skin-to-skin contact, and it actually can be spread through sexual contact also. So in, older children or even adults, you may see it like on the inside of the thighs because of sexual contact. As far as, other older children getting it, you can get it from towels. So, be careful. Don't use other people's towels. For children, they can actually get it from touching a surface or a toy that someone else who had it touched. So you want to really be careful, and one of the ways to avoid it is to always have your children to wash their hands with soap and water. And if your child does have molluscum, you want to keep it covered. So they can go back to school or daycare, but you really want to keep it covered. So if it's on their arms, you want to, make sure they have a shirt that's covering it, or a long sleeve shirt if they need it, if it's on the lower part of their arms. So try to make sure it's covered. And also you want to try to keep it clean. You want to keep it as clean as possible. And it will eventually go away. Sometimes it will stick around for months. Now, there is a homeopathic treatment for molluscum, and it decreases how long you have it, but it's not like it goes away in like 1 or 2 days. It's still going to be around for a minute. So those are the two that I wanted to tell you about, and kind of like a rule of thumb, because when you're trying to figure out like when should I be worried about a rash on my child or something I see on my child's skin, kind of a good rule of thumb is if it's really not bothering your child, like molluscum really doesn't bother them, it doesn't itch. Pityriasis alba does not bother them at all. It does not itch. And a lot of times when parents come in and mention it to their pediatrician, it's just maybe even that, this has been around for like months, and now that we're here, can you just check this out, tell me what it is? And, that also gives you an idea. It's been around for months and it's really not bothering your child. It's generally not going to be a problem. However, as always, when you're in doubt, you should always consult your healthcare practitioner to make sure that everything is fine. But one of the things that I always say is once you consult your healthcare practitioner and they tell you that everything is fine, be happy that everything is fine. There's nothing to be concerned about. Don't be upset because there's not a miracle treatment to get rid of it in a day, okay? So I'm going to leave you. I saw a couple of people came on, and I know that a lot of people are still at work, so they will look at this later. So you know who I am. I am Dr. Pam Middleton, your virtual holistic pediatrician. I help families achieve and maintain health and wellness through inside-out healing using holistic modalities that encompass the mind, body, and spirit. You can go to www.drpamspearls.com to get a free download of holistic tips for your healthy child. I will see you next week. And actually, as a little bonus, I might actually come back on later this evening because I'm going to an event that's hosted by a friend of mine, Tanya Jedian, who is a classically trained homeopath. And while I'm at the event, I may actually come on briefly and do a little interview of her. I know she's going to be speaking at the event, so if I can get there early enough, I may actually go live while she's speaking. But if not, I will ask her a couple of questions for you if we get a chance to do that. So come on back later this evening. Just kind of be on the lookout. It will probably be somewhere between 6 and 7. That's probably the time that I'll be doing it. So somewhere between 6 and 7, look for me to come back on. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Wellness Wednesday. Bye-bye.